Episode info, characters, photos and details on Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 3. Well, hey everyone, I'm Nick and welcome back to Sci-Finatics. Well, it's been a little bit of time since we've had any new Star Trek news, but today I thought we'd have a bit of a chat about some of the stuff we know that's coming up in Season 3 of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. It sounds like it's going to be quite an interesting season.
Fascinating.
One thing that Strange New Worlds does tend to do quite a bit is really swing for the fences. They don't play it safe with episodes. They really, try to hit the home run. Last season we had some pretty cracking episodes in the form of the Lower Decks crossover episode with Boimler and Mariner, and also that big musical episode with Subspace Rhapsody. And it definitely sounds like we might be in for a treat with some of the episodes coming up in Season 3 of Strange New Worlds. We know there's that Vulcan episode that we saw the sneak peek scene for recently from Comic-Con. The Vulcan episode is going to be episode 8 of the season. There's another episode though that sounds quite interesting as well, which is going to be a Hollywood murder mystery episode, which is going to be episode 4. Now this episode is directed by Jonathan Frakes, and it seems like it might be a kind of a Star Trek meets Knives Out, or Star Trek meets one of those Agatha Christie style murder mystery type movies like we've seen recently with that series of Kenneth Branagh films where he plays Hercule Poirot, and they're based on the original Agatha Christie novels and so forth. They're always kind of entertaining films, and it sounds like that Star Trek is going to replicate that style of storytelling for Season 3 of the show. Now, the concept of a murder mystery episode isn't a foreign concept to Star Trek. There have been plenty of kind of mystery, crime-solving type episodes in Star Trek before, from episodes like Eye of the Beholder in TNG, Wolf in the Fold, TOS, Field of Fire, DS9, Matter of Perspective, TNG, Darkness and the Light, DS9, Court Martial in original series. I quite remember the Meld episode in Voyager with Lon Suda, the sort of psychopathic serial killer Betazoid. And probably most notably in terms of murder mystery type episodes is of course Star Trek VI, Undiscovered Country. The entire film is a kind of a whodunit, kind of crime-solving sort of episode where you don't know who's murdered the Klingon ambassadors and everything, and they're trying to hunt down the killer, and they're trying to, testing phases in the kitchen to see if the alarms go off and who is responsible. All that sort of kind of mystery whodunit. There have been plenty of episodes in the past of Star Trek that have implemented this kind of style of storytelling. However, this episode does seem like it's going to go down that road of something that's a bit more like Cluedo, the Cluedo sort of, I think in North America, I'm pretty sure it was called Clue, but I think the rest of the world called that board game Cluedo because it was based on, I think there was an original board game called Ludo, and then it became the murder mystery thing, and they named that Cluedo, kind of off that original title. So I think I think it was called Cluedo in everywhere in the world except for North America, where it was called Clue. But yeah, that same style of Professor Plum in the study with the candlestick type of storytelling. Now it seems like Kirk is going to feature quite prominently in this episode. Jonathan Frakes has said that Kirk is a big part of this murder mystery episode, and it's going to be a unique, unseen kind of version of Kirk. Could be interesting. They're taking some big swings in this show, so let's just see where it goes in terms of its direction. But the actors in this Hollywood murder mystery episode are going to be doing very, very different performances from their usual characters. And this kind of makes me think of the episode from, I think it was the first season, the Elysian Kingdom episode, where we had them doing kind of storybook characters based on Rukia Mbenga's daughter, the storybook he would kind of read to her, and they all kind of adopted these characters from this storybook that he would read her. So I wonder whether it's going to be something similar, where we've got the characters taking over some sort of different personas in some sort of 1930s style murder mystery type scenario. It sounds interesting, and the cast of Strange New Worlds have described it as a spectacular episode. In fact, Jonathan Frakes was talking to Rebecca Romaine after they'd filmed the episode. Obviously, they shoot the series in Toronto, and I think they were flying back to LA or something, and they were chatting on the plane or whatever, and Jonathan Frakes said to Rebecca that he thinks that this particular Hollywood murder mystery episode of Season 3 is one of his favourite hours of television that he's ever directed. And Jonathan Frakes has directed quite a lot of episodes of television, a lot of episodes of Star Trek, but it seems like this episode is his favourite. So, could be sounding like it's a very interesting episode. Speaking of Rebecca Romaine, it definitely seems like we're going to be getting a different Una Chin Riley #1 in season 3. Now that she's a bit more unencumbered by the stress and the secret and the shame that all was wrapped up in her being an Illyrian in the previous season, and now that that's all out in the open, it seems like Una can relax a little bit more. She can maybe let her hair down a fraction more than she has in past season. And it seems like we're going to be getting a much lighter version of Una in season 3. More fun, a bit more levity with her character, which I think sounds like it could be an enjoyable ride. It also seems like we're going to be getting a lot more of Scotty in season 3 as well. It seems like Martin Quinn, the actor who is playing Scotty in Strange New Worlds, is now a series regular. He's not just a guest actor. As a series regular on Strange New Worlds, we're going to be seeing a much less experienced Scotty than we have sort of come to know him as, obviously in original series and so forth. I'm really looking forward to the dynamics between Scotty and Pelia. I think that teacher-student relationship that we caught a glimpse of at the end of last season looks highly entertaining, and I'm looking forward to seeing how Pelia and Scotty are going to interact together on the ship. Now, I'm not entirely sure whether the character of Scotty is slightly being retconned in terms of his age and rank, because it seemed kind of obvious to me that in original series, Scotty was the better part of 10 years older than Kirk. But obviously Martin Quinn is not 10 years older than Paul Wesley. In fact, I think Paul Wesley is around 40 or 41 or something, which again, you know, is a lot older. I think Kirk was like 33 or 34 or something in original series, and we've got an actor that's 7 or 8 years older than that playing him in this preceding time era. But it seems like this is sort of a slight retcon, I suppose, of the character of Scotty. Obviously, yeah, original series, he was kind of 10 years older than Kirk. In Strange New Worlds, it kind of seems like he's 10 years younger, or more, maybe 15 years younger than Kirk in Strange New Worlds. So it's sort of a little bit of a different dynamic. It seems like as part of Scotty's interaction and appearance in Season 3, there's going to be a lot more interaction with sciencey stuff. I think Scotty's going to have a lot of stuff to do with Spock, and we're going to get to see this dynamic that's going on between Spock and Scotty in Season 3, which should be interesting. But not only is Spock going to have a lot of scenes with Scotty in Season 3, it also seems we're going to get a lot of this interesting stuff going on with Corby, the love interest character for Nurse Chapel, and how we've got this kind of love triangle scenario going on in Season 3. And they've said that Corby is a very different character in Strange New Worlds than how he was kind of portrayed in original series. The character that he obviously starts out being in Strange New Worlds, and who he ends up being when we see him in original series, is chalk and cheese. It's completely different character. There's a massive growth and journey and so forth there with that character. So it'd be interesting to see just how different the character of Corby is in Strange New Worlds, and what this kind of interesting love triangle dynamic between Chapel and Corby and Spock is going to play out like in the 3rd season of the show. We've obviously got this new science lab set that they've built for Season 3, where we have seen a still image here of the science lab set. Looks like we've got Spock in a kind of an EV suit, similar to the ones we saw in original series. And the fact that there's like a watery pool thing underneath the floor, that's kind of an interesting dynamic. And we might even see some marine life or creatures of some kind swimming around in this pool at some point during the course of the season. I'm not sure what they're going to keep in the water here in the science lab, but it sort of makes for cool, set dressing, I guess. It's sort of, I don't know, a little bit like those jars of blue and pink fluid that Dr. Crusher always had in sickbay in Next Generation, but kind of never really did much with. In terms of the show and its progression into the 4th season, we now know that all of the stories have kind of been conceived of for the 4th season of the show, and they're in the process of being written. The screenplay is written for the stories, but they know what the stories are that they're going to tell in Season 4. And that shooting for the 4th season for Strange New Worlds is most likely going to be starting in early 2025. Unfortunately, it is still a 10-episode season for the 4th season. They did try to kind of ask the network to, can we get a few more episodes maybe? Because the nature of the storytelling for Strange New Worlds being episodic, not serialized, kind of means, hey, we can tell a few more stories here. And I think they asked the network, can we maybe do 13 rather than 10? But I think the foot got put down and said, no, we'll give you 8 then. And they said, oh, no, maybe 10's okay then. So that's, I think it would be nice to have more than 10 episodes. Strange New Worlds is one of those shows, because it is episodic, definitely feels like we could get more than 10 episodes. I think 10 episodes works very well when you've got a serialized story arc, like what Picard had, and also Discovery. When you're telling one story over the course of 10 episodes, it works well. But when you've got self-contained episodes, it would be nice to have more than 10. It'd be good to have 13, or maybe 15 or 16, but I guess we take what we can get. The producers of the show have also said that they see the series in its continuation into the 4th and potentially 5th season to essentially, maybe even get into the realms of the TOS era, which would mean, maybe by the time we get to, perhaps, a 5th season of Strange New Worlds, do we kind of end up basically having all of our original series characters in place on the Enterprise with Sulu and, and Chekhov and McCoy and everything as well coming on board as cast regulars. But then again, you wouldn't want to kick out Anson Mount as Pike too soon and get Paul Wesley in. I think that would be a nice place to go for the series finale, but let's not boot Anson Mount out the door just yet. I think I think we've got a good dynamic going. Let's keep that rolling for a few seasons. So it definitely looks like we've got some interesting stories and dynamics coming up in the 3rd season of Strange New Worlds. But let me know what you guys think. Leave a thought in the comments section, and we'll get chatting about that. Guys, if you haven't subscribed to Sci-Finatics, please be sure to do so. Click on that big subscribe button to stay current with all the latest Star Trek gossip, news, info and everything online, and also be sure to check out my merch in the merch drawer. Plenty of cool sci-fi and Star Trek themed t-shirts and hoodies and mugs and caps and everything for you to check out. Pick yourself up a bargain and help support the channel at the same time. I'll be back very soon with my next video. I'll catch you guys soon.